Part 53. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 521. What if the hostile forces combine the middle strategy and the best strategy? Cheng Ling's voice was cold, with an inhuman and cold wisdom. Uncle Zhang, please imagine this. If one day a large-scale infectious disease breaks out in our country, as a manager, what will you do? Zhang Zhenkuo answered directly without thinking, of course, the safety of people's lives and property is the first priority. I will mobilize all forces, strengthen management, and establish a blockade to keep the disease away from home, or reduce the disease as much as possible harm to the people. Cheng Ling said coldly, they will say that you rule with an iron fist and restrict people's freedom. Zhang Zhenkuo was stunned and said slowly, are you going to let me watch them get sick? Cheng Ling said without mercy, they will say that you put people's lives at risk. Because the other party is just a manager, not a human being. Have you ever heard of a story called Why Don't You Wear a Hat? Zhang Zhenkuo has heard of it. There once was a morally corrupt wolf who wanted to bully the little white rabbit. One day, the wolf saw the little white rabbit in the forest, so he went up and slapped it, why don't you wear a hat? The little white rabbit didn't want to be beaten, so he wore a hat the next day. The wolf went up and slapped him again, why are you wearing a hat? Repeat the cycle several times. So, the little white rabbit went to the tiger to seek justice, and said this again. The tiger said he would support the little white rabbit, sent the little white rabbit away, and called the wolf. The tiger said to the wolf sincerely, you can't bully the little white rabbit so openly and give it some tricky problems. If it can't solve it, won't it be reasonable if you continue to chip away at it? When the wolf thought about it, he was right. So, the wolf found the little white rabbit and said, find me a beautiful woman. The little white rabbit found a beauty. The wolf failed. The wolf assigned several tasks to the little white rabbit, and the little white rabbit completed them successfully. Even the wolf can't bully the little white rabbit. The wolf was angry and slapped the little white rabbit, why don't you wear a hat? Cheng Ling said, the hostile force just wants to bully the little white rabbit. He will find various reasons. If there is no reason, he can also criticize you for wearing a hat. We can't change this. But at least, we should have countermeasures. We must not let ordinary people be led astray by the wolf's thoughts. As for whether you should wear a hat or not, let's analyze the specific situation on a case-by-case basis. When it's cold, rainy, or snowy, you have to wear a hat. When it's hot and stuffy, and you have tiny capitis and need ventilation, you have to take off your hat. Uncle Zhang, don't let go of your pen. I have to say that our country in China is always one step behind others. For the first time, Zhang Zhenkuo felt that he was old. The age of young people has arrived. The old brain sometimes fails. He was thankful more than once that Cheng Ling and he were in the same camp. It is a blessing for the country to have Cheng Ling here. Asterisk. Before going to bed, Cheng Ling thought about it, lay on the bed, and posted a Weibo message. Cheng Ling, many friends around me have oral ulcers, which are extremely painful and difficult to recover from. I hope everyone will pay enough attention to them and seek medical treatment as soon as possible. If possible, try to avoid taking cephalosporins independently and follow the doctor's instructions. P.S. It is recommended that you do not share tableware, lipstick, and other items with others, and try to use public chopsticks when eating, and do not share your milk tea. It is cleaner and hygienic, beneficial to our mutual health. I don't know who gave Cheng Ling this Weibo post and bought it as a hot search topic. The next morning, everyone left messages below. Almost 50-50. Half objected. I have a very good relationship with my roommate and best friend, and we always use each other's lipstick. It would be inappropriate if I rashly said I wouldn't share it with anyone else. Don't share tableware. I'm afraid you never went to school, the happiest thing in the school cafeteria is tasting and snatching each other's meals. Is Chengling's butt crooked and he wants us to learn the Western dining style of everyone eating his own meal? Can oral ulcers be contagious? Funny, can you concentrate on acting instead of being a Mongolian doctor? A shame. This is the worst time for oral ulcers to be blackened. Is Chengling floating? Buying hot searches every day is so annoying. Now when I open Weibo, I see the announcement from the crew of Light and Blood, as well as the Weibo posts of Chengling and others, which makes me panic. Can Weibo launch a targeted keyword blocking function? Have support. I am suffering from oral ulcers. Thanks to my eldest sister for speaking out for oral ulcers. I said my oral ulcers were worse than death, in exchange for others' hypocritical remarks. It's really painful. Sharing tableware and serving food on one plate is very unhygienic. Unfortunately, no one is too embarrassed to refuse the other. Learn about Helicobacter pylori. After checking it, you will pay attention to dietary hygiene. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 522. After everyone got up and finished breakfast, more people checked Weibo, saw Chengling's Weibo, forwarded it and made comments. Chengling greeted Wang Zhen and told the company not to criticize. She wanted to see what real netizens thought about her Weibo posts. Understand their thoughts and then provide targeted positive guidance. Chengling works all day long, can't he just concentrate on his career? If you look at other celebrities, they all focus on their own affairs, she's the one jumping around. I think it's good for celebrities to speak out. We should recognize the appeal of celebrities. There is no point in denying this, it is better to make the best use of it. She has had too many hot searches recently. Has Weibo blocked the hot search members? I just want to ask, when will it expire? Can celebrities stop wasting public resources? Is this also called waste? Isn't this what celebrities should do? My eldest sister didn't promote the product, she didn't reveal her beautiful photos. Actually, you can have this. She didn't argue with her, but she told everyone to protect themselves. Thank you, sister, I will protect myself. By noon, more stars were speaking out. By Muchuan, I'm about to cry. JPG, big sister Etling, it was my sister who told you about my oral ulcer, right? I was really tortured by oral ulcers and almost collapsed. Every time when it's time to eat, I feel a lot of pressure, because when I eat, I will definitely touch the wound, and it really hurts. Luju Etling, thank you for your advice. Too many people have been suffering from oral ulcers recently, especially those in our singing circle. Not only oral ulcers, but also various inflammations, and they are really all taking anti-inflammatory drugs. John Kyun, there is a concert on July Day, bye-bye, they all have oral ulcers. At Chengling's reminder is good. I hope everyone will take more care of themselves. If you don't pay attention, more people may get oral ulcers. Gong Yewei and Guan Yiwei of Enjoy Life Slowly, as well as the stars and directors of the Light and Blood crew, all forwarded Chengling's Weibo. At this time, the whole network was in a state of excitement. Is Chengling so popular now? Guess what I found, most of those who support Chengling are men. Stop insinuating, aren't Luju, Bai Qingcan, and Tang Qing all female stars? Moreover, Chengling has more female fans, right? Don't mention it, there are so many people around me who have oral ulcers that are difficult to cure. Patients who are troubled by oral ulcers feel much better. It turns out that I'm not the only one facing this problem. It turns out that this is really serious for me. It turns out that I'm not being pretentious. Long live understanding. People who have not suffered from oral ulcers are a little worried after seeing the issue of oral ulcer infection that has been a hot topic on the internet. Everyone has many things going on every day, and they really can't afford to be sick. Besides, as long as you pay attention to personal hygiene, you can avoid getting sick. That's not too much trouble. Asterisk. Special Security Bureau, Zhang Zhenqiu office. Father Zhang was lying on his office chair with his head up, his coat casually draped over him, and he was taking a nap. He stayed up all night. The table was covered with large and small printed documents. After a few bites of the bowl, the instant noodles had already cooled down. There were a few bits of white solidified fat floating in the instant noodle soup, and a few dried green onions. Clean Red Bull cans. The workload in one night is extremely heavy. Father Zhang had no time to rest at all. In the past, he had his son Zhang Qilan to help him, so he didn't have to do many things himself, he only had to make decisions. Zhang Qilan was also very careful. When he was around, Jiang's father didn't need to eat junk food like instant noodles at all. Sometimes it's hot soy milk and steamed buns, sometimes it's hot rice pudding, convenience store sandwiches and sausages with coffee, sometimes it's fragrant meat. Now that his son is not around, Zhang Zhenqiu not only goes through every detail of the matter when dealing with it, but he also has to make decisions. Naturally, the diet became rough. Jingle bell. The phone on the desk rang suddenly. Father Zhang opened his coat, grabbed the microphone, and glanced at the clock on the wall. He had only slept for less than an hour. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 523. It was someone from the customs who called me. Hey, Lao Zhang, I received your documents, but you have to give me a clear instruction on what I should do. You can't check the foreigners entering the country one by one to see if they have oral ulcers, right? Even if we check, just because if the other party has oral ulcers, he won't be allowed to enter the country? Isn't there such a rule? If the boss blames me, it will really cost me a lot. Zhang Zhenqiu explained a few words, and as soon as he put down the phone rang impatiently. The people from the Public Security Bureau asked, "Leader, we have learned the specific situation of those virus carriers. What should we do next? We can't arrest them, right? Should we continue to track and obtain their information? We can't ban them either. It's not illegal for them to go out in public places, right? Hospital, leader, if cephalosporin antibiotics are not allowed, how should the patient's inflammation be treated? Media, leaders and celebrities have called on everyone to wash their hands frequently and keep clean and hygienic. However, we found that some suspicious users deliberately provoked and personally attacked the celebrities who called on everyone to pay attention to hygiene. Everyone was asking him what he should do. He also wanted to know what he should do. After a night of investigation, the facts were as Cheng Ling speculated. Foreigners who recently visited China had many ulterior motives. Their main destinations are bars, parties, and night market food stalls in first and second-tier cities. All of them are handsome men and women of both sexes, and more importantly, they all have very serious oral ulcer problems. By calling surveillance cameras, investigators found that these people would kiss and hug others without any scruples. In addition, they all have a special behavior, feeding other people wine with the wine glasses they have touched. This is a more traditional way of flirting. Thanks to the excellent external conditions, when they do this, the other party often does not refuse. The wine glass is the carrier of the virus, helping to complete the spread of the virus from the patient to the healthy human body. Of course, the wine glass is a relatively simple method with a low success rate. Tongue kissing, oral sex, and sexual intercourse have a higher success rate. These people can be chosen to do this kind of thing. They are by no means good men and women. They have experienced hundreds of battles and possess unique skills. They can quietly chew each other's lips out during intimate contact. The virus just ran in. 1 spreads to 10, and 10 spreads to 100. A seemingly inconspicuous mouth ulcer spread like this. What has already happened? Trace the root cause to prevent this from happening again. Now, let's think carefully about how to remedy it. Zhang Zhenqiu pinched his eyebrows, leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes and thought for a long time, then picked up the phone and called his secretary. Xiao Li, call Luz Heining and the other 3 to my office. Okay, chief. Not long after, there was a knock on the door of Zhang Zhenqiu's office. 3 people came in, they are very reliable subordinates. Hello, chief, the 3 of them saluted in unison. Yes. I called you here to assign you tasks. At this moment, Zhang Zhenqiu did not show any signs of sleepiness or exhaustion. He has tall eyebrows, piercing eyes, and a majestic and steady voice. Customs should establish secret files for suspicious foreign tourists who enter the country, they must be hidden. Under the premise of not affecting normal travel in foreign countries, keep track of their whereabouts. Foreign tourists must treat each other with courtesy, not just for the sake of being a big country, but to avoid being true to the facts. Inform the Market Supervision and Management Department to carry out sanitary inspections on several targeted bars and shut them down for half a month for rectification and management. In addition, strengthen the management of food at roadside stalls and night market stalls. For night market food stalls whose hygienic conditions are not up to par, ordering rectification. The hygiene and safety of catering must be ensured. For example, reusable tableware must be sterilized and disinfected in compliance with regulations before it can be provided to the next guest. The media should try to control the control of foreign forces on my country's online speech. At the same time, let major hospitals publish articles on major platforms and find a few authoritative experts to publish some articles on the prevention and treatment of infectious diseases. The theme is to call on the public to pay attention to maintain personal hygiene and avoid close contact with outsiders. In addition, we should conduct relevant health and safety lectures in major schools and primary and secondary schools. The 3 capable men took the order and went out to perform the mission. Zhang Zhenqiu looked at the clock on the wall again. 1 p.m. He called his secretary to his office again. Xiao Li, take my business card, go out in person and pick up 3 people for me to come to the bureau. They are Professor Dai Shui from the Department of Infectious Diseases at Fengda University, Director Shen Che from the Maple City Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and Wang Xiaz, an oral medicine expert from Maple City Third Hospital. I have something important and I would like to ask their help. I will also say hello to their schools, centers, and hospitals, they are my very important guests and you must treat them with courtesy. Xiao Li stood at attention and saluted, I obey, Chief. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 524. Zhang Zhenqiu always follows a basic principle when doing things. Professional matters should be left to professionals. He would never give orders casually in areas he was not good at or did not understand. He will find big guys in related industries, hold meetings and study together, and humbly ask for advice and learn from the big guys. In terms of academics, the big guys are in charge. In terms of execution, Zhang Zhenqiu is responsible. In order to avoid being noticed by the enemy, and also pay attention to the quick tactics, Zhang Zhenqiu did not recruit talents in the field of oral infectious diseases nationwide. Instead, he found 3 heavyweights in Maple City, which is dotted with key universities and tertiary hospitals. Professor Dai Shui from the Department of Infectious Diseases at Fengda University, Director Shen Che from the Maple City Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and Wang Xiaz, an oral medicine expert from Maple City Third Hospital. The meeting location is the S-level conference room of the Security Bureau. Zhang Zhenqiu stood at the door of the conference room and personally greeted the 3 scholars. Professor Dai, Director Shen, Expert Wang, Good afternoon. Zhang Zhenqiu shook hands with the three of them cordially. The three scholars took their seats in the conference room one by one. What I'm going to say next is related to the lives, health, and safety of our country's citizens. This matter is highly confidential and requires three people to sign a confidentiality agreement. If you have any concerns, you can choose to leave. Three scholars, you look at me and I look at you. No one left. Professor Dai has a quick temper. Lao Zhang, you and I have known each other for many years, how come you have become a mother-in-law now? What the hell is going on? It's so exciting to say half of the words. Hurry, take out the documents and let's sign. Zhang Zhenqiu smiled, but was not in a hurry to get the documents. He looked at Director Shen and Expert Wang. After a brief hesitation, Director Shen replied firmly, I am willing to sign. However, we have some tasks at hand that need to be completed. Isolation is more troublesome. Expert Wang nodded, I am leading a scientific research project, and the bacteria are being cultivated. If I leave, I'm afraid this project will be ruined. Many confidential tasks need to be carried out in complete isolation from outside information. It's normal for them to have such concerns. Zhang Zhenqiu laughed loudly, everyone, what we are going to conduct this time is not a secret experiment, and there is no need to isolate everyone. Director Shen and Expert Wang breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. After signing the confidentiality agreement, Zhang Zhenqiu told the three scholars the details of the nationwide outbreak of herpetic gingivostomatitis. After hearing the whole story, the three of them looked at each other. It's just herpetic gingivostomatitis. Is it necessary to be so cautious? Zhang Zhenqiu frowned slightly, I know what everyone is thinking. Based on our intelligence analysis of the enemy, this is only the first step. You are experts and you should know that if there is damage in your mouth, you will be exposed to more dangerous and deadly things, viruses and bacteria. What does it mean? After hearing this, the three people's expressions became serious. It turns out that this is just the first step. Then the problem is serious. What solution do you hope to find from us? Director Shen asked, is it to control the spread of herpes? Zhang Zhenqiu said, yes. But not entirely. We must not only control the spread and expansion of herpetic gingivostomatitis, but also find more reasonable and effective treatment options. As far as I know, many people have this disease and have not improved for a month. Moreover, we want the enemy to think that we know nothing about their conspiracy. At the same time, they must create the illusion that their plan is successful. Herpetic gingivostomatitis is spreading rapidly among the Chinese people. I am not an expert in this regard. What I put forward is my ideal. It may be a fantasy and cannot be realized at all. I have expressed my expectations. I hope that the three of you will not have any worries, speak freely, and talk about my ideas. Can it be realized? Why? If it cannot be realized, why? The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 525. Zhang Zhenqiu stretched out his right hand to indicate that he had finished speaking and asked the three of them to express their opinions and thoughts. Professor Dai said, if you want to find a reasonable treatment plan, it is difficult or easy. The difficulty is that in order to find a reasonable and effective treatment plan, we need to collect a large amount of experimental data, that is, patient information. This statistical amount is very large, and it is quite troublesome to do. To put it simply, as long as we have sufficient and with valid data, you can find the best treatment plan. Zhang Zhenqiu asked, how to calculate the statistics specifically? Tell us. Professor Dai replied, in hospitals in cities with intensive herpetic gingivostomatitis outbreaks, establish a complete interrogation return visit database to collect extensive file information on patients with herpetic gingivostomatitis in the area, mainly their age, time and extent of onset, medication information, and recovery status. Zhang Zhenqiu pondered for a moment and replied, I think I should be able to do this data collection. Then this matter is more than half done. Professor Dai clapped his hands. Lao Zhang, please do the statistics as soon as possible, and we will try to find a treatment plan in the shortest time. Our plan may not be the best, but it will definitely be effective. Okay, Zhang Zhenqiu nodded. Director Shen then said, if you want to prevent the spread of infectious diseases, you must strictly observe hygiene, so that the virus can be strangled in the transmission link, especially schools, hospitals, large personnel-intensive office areas, canteens, etc. All tableware must meet disinfection standards. The bars and KTVs you just mentioned, can you find a way to keep them closed for a period of time? Zhang Zhenqiu nodded, I have thought of this too. The fire protection and sanitation conditions in these places are indeed not up to standard. We can take this opportunity to regulate them. If there are innocent shops involved, I will apply to my superiors to reduce the corresponding taxes. Provide certain subsidies to reduce the economic impact on legitimate merchants. Expert Wang said, if you want to create a false impression for the enemy, you can prepare two sets of data, commonly known as yin and yang data. If they are able to find the hospital's background consultation information, you can show them the false information you prepared. In addition, some outpatient clinics were added with the Sign Dental department, but in fact, the patients came to see them for routine diseases. They only saw that the number of dental doctors was increasing day by day, and they did not expect that these people were not looking for oral problems. Zhang Zhenqiu nodded in approval, it can indeed confuse the public, just try not to cause trouble to the people who are seeing the doctor. The big plan has been drawn up, and all that's left is careful consideration. At the end of the discussion, the four people wrote a very specific implementation plan. Zhang Zhenqiu took the plan, applied for activity funds, and deployed manpower. The enemy thought they were in the dark, but they didn't know that they had long been exposed to the sun. This campaign to stop the spread of herpes infectious diseases was launched quietly. For 6 days, 3 dental experts used the collected patient information to continuously formulate treatment plans, arguing fiercely, overturning them, or revising and reformulating them. Finally, a treatment plan was formulated that combined external and internal application and avoided the use of antibiotics. Hospitals across the country received this treatment plan. Doctors made reasonable adjustments based on this treatment plan for different patients, and sure enough, the oral ulcers that troubled people got better one after another. Others who have not been infected with herpetic gingivostomatitis have learned from the past and are very careful to protect themselves. Huiguo has launched a strict firefighting campaign again, heavily rectifying bars, KTVs and other places, and countless entertainment venues have closed down for rectification. The group of foreign friends who came well prepared had no idea that the so-called firefighting rectification was aimed at them. Once the entertainment venues are closed, it will be difficult for them to continue performing their tasks. They can't just grab someone on the street and kiss them, right? However, their mission has been completed. According to the information stolen from the hospital by the organization's intelligence officers, during this period, the number of dental patients in China increased exponentially. The number of patients being consulted for oral ulcers in the hospital was more than 100 times that of the same period last year. Not to mention that the internet is filled with the cries of oral ulcer patients, arranged by Zhang Zhenqiu. Ha! You're done. As a result, this group of foreign friends embarked on their way home one after another. Report to the chief, his subordinates saluted Zhang Zhenqiu, there is news from the customs that these foreigners have left the country one after another. Everyone seems to be happy, our plan was successful. Success. Zhang Zhenqiu shook his head somewhat heavily. They have only taken a small step forward. What we face next is something even more terrifying. These viruses carrying the herpes virus are nothing more than tools used by the enemy to cast stones to ask for directions and pave the way for subsequent plans. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 526. Special Security Bureau S-Class Confidential Conference Room. Zhang Zhenkuo, Professor Dai, Director Shen, and Expert Wang sat together again. Although they won the first battle, everyone's expressions were solemn. Professor Dai said quickly, although most patients are cured, they often experience minor sequelae, such as rashes, hair loss, night sweats, decreased sleep quality, loss of taste, and other symptoms. This is a change in immunity. Low performance. Expert Wang, my senior brother's laboratory said that these viruses have traces of artificial modification. Director Shen, just a small herpes virus can cause serious damage to us. I don't even dare to think about how we can prevent and treat if we encounter a more powerful infectious disease, such as a respiratory-borne disease. Zhang Zhenkuo thought to himself, not only are there diseases with high fatality rates and high infection rates that are transmitted by breathing, but there may also be diseases that are transmitted through body fluids and feces. Chen Ling was right, this is war. This is a war with no smoke in sight, but it is more dangerous, more terrifying, and more difficult to guard against. Zhang Zhenkuo felt a strong sense of panic filling his heart. I wonder how things are going with Zhang Qilan? Asterisk. The herpetic gingivostomatitis commando team reported their results to their superiors and embarked on their return journey. At the same time, tens of thousands of kilometers away, there was a white-roofed circular building auditorium in Western Europe. This auditorium is located on the outskirts of the city, with a 5-kilometer radius surrounded by trees and weeds. Usually few people come to the auditorium. Today, for the first time, the auditorium was packed with people. At the innermost side of the auditorium is a dark red podium. At this moment, there was a handsome man with blonde hair and blue eyes standing on the podium wearing a white suit. He is about 30 years old, with gentle eyebrows and a compassionate temperament. He has a strange magical power. As soon as people see him, they can't help but want to share their deepest secrets with him. Under the podium, there were 70 or 80 men, women, and children of various skins standing, all wearing the same white suits. Fanaticism was written on each of their faces. They were looking at the man on the podium with a look of obsession. Brothers, sisters. The man on the podium raised his arms and shouted. Family. The people in the audience shouted. The sound is uniform and very loud. The birds that were resting by the window were frightened and flew into the sky. After the roaring stopped, the man said in a gentle, loving voice. I am so excited and so happy to see you again, my brothers and sisters. First of all, I want to sincerely thank you for your contribution to the earth. The man bowed deeply to the audience. I haven't straightened up for a long time. The eyes of many people in the audience quickly filled with tears. They covered their mouths and looked at the man who bowed deeply through the tears. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves. After 2 full minutes, the man straightened up and said, thank you. Next, I want to tell you some good news. The brothers and sisters sent to Dongfang Hua country have completed their mission. Now, they are embarking on a glorious return journey. The earth will be filled with flowers for them, the sky will be bright because of them, and we will enthusiastically praise them. They, for us, for the lovely creatures, for Mother Earth, dedicated their bodies to those bed bugs, cockroaches, and garbage. They have no regrets. They are very happy. Because they are doing it for the noble interests. They have won the supreme honor. I will always remember their sacrifice. Fanatic roars echoed in the auditorium. After the roar subsided, the man spoke again. There was a sad look in his blue eyes. Our earth is already riddled with holes. If we don't take action, it will be too late. For the sake of Mother Earth, we have to get rid of the garbage that harms the Earth. Especially those lowly, numerous humans. Family members, our commandos have opened the door for us, and now it's your battlefield. It's your turn to use your ingenuity and clear away the garbage. Oh. The people in the audience were in a frenzied and restless commotion. They wanted to rush to the battlefield immediately and tear up a few junk to relieve their anger. This beast-like roar lasted for a long time. After waiting for a while, the man raised his hands with his palms facing down and pressed them. When people saw him making this gesture, they stopped roaring and squirming. Silence quickly returned to the auditorium. Seeing that his words were so useful, the man nodded with great satisfaction. Next, I will distribute weapons to everyone. After speaking, he turned his head to the other side of the podium and said, "Dear Smith, my friend, please distribute the things to my brothers and sisters." This Smith is an Oriental man with black hair and black eyes. He has short black hair, thick and fluffy hair, deep eyebrows, a pair of dark and cold eyes, a nose as high as the ridge of a snow-capped mountain, and thin lips. Tall and well-proportioned. He is a rare Oriental handsome guy. This Smith is none other than someone else. It was John Killen. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 527. Hearing the man on the stage mention him, John Killen raised his head and said in a cold voice, "Okay, Batty." The Masons recognize the rules but not the people. But the old and the new are replaced from time to time. If the newcomers do not understand the rules and harm the highest interests of the Masons, that is something the Masons would never want to see. So, they set up a special position to be responsible for connecting with newcomers. As long as the newcomers do not pass the probation period, they will be disqualified from joining the society. The Masons have a strict hierarchy. Members of different levels are naturally treated differently. Low-level members are assisted in learning by the Dugwan. High-level members are taught and supervised by the Masons' official level, SIK. John Killen's level is very high, so the one who is responsible for teaching him is a SIK, that is, the man named Batty on the podium. There are more than 40 SIK in the Masons, and they will explain the knowledge of the Masons to high-level new members. For example, the original intention of the establishment of the Masons, the organizational structure of the Masons, and the spirit of the Masons. As well as the main source of income for the Masons, how to deal with dues, how members can help each other and benefit each other, etc. Finally, whether you can pass the assessment period smoothly depends mainly on the results given by the SIK. At the end of the Death Island meeting, this SIK named Batty was inseparable from John Killen. Logically, John Killen, who had infiltrated the Masons, should have passed on the intelligence he had in a timely manner. But with Batty by his side, John Killen did not dare to have any contact with the country in any form. Batty, the former instructor of the US Secret Service, has strong personal abilities and powerful agent abilities. Under his nose, any unusual movement of John Killen could not escape his eyes. However, with Batty's explanation, John Killen had a deeper understanding of the Masons. This mission was the last step of John Killen's assessment period. It was John Killen's pledge of allegiance. Only when this mission was successfully completed, John Killen could be considered to have truly integrated into the Masons. Asterisk. John Killen turned around and pushed out a cart as tall as a person from behind. The cart was covered with a thick red silk cloth. John Killen pulled the silk cloth off. The size of the cart was similar to that of an ordinary supermarket cart, but the difference was that the cart pushed by John Killen had 10 layers, each about 15 centimeters high. Each layer was filled with long black boxes. The boxes looked a bit like pen cases, with very fine workmanship, and the metal shells were wrapped in fine and thick black silk. He pushed the cart and walked towards the crowd. The crowd automatically separated a passage. Most people looked at John Killen with obsessed eyes. This obsession was different from the obsession with Batty. For John Killen, it was an infatuation. Friends of the Earth Guardians, please use your admission tickets to exchange for a gift box, John Killen said. John Killen was completely different from Batty. If Batty is a warm spring breeze, then John Killen is a ruthless winter snow, who doesn't show any good face to the church members. Earth Guardian Church is an offline church developed by Batty. The Masons encourage and support high-level members to establish their own churches, but the newly established churches must be absolutely obedient to the Masons and cannot conflict with the interests of the Masons. If there is a conflict, the interests of the Masons shall prevail. In this way, the Masons can control the number of their members and increase the number of troops, which can expand the influence of the Masons. The members of Earth Guardian use their bodies to poison the target country. Batty introduced John Killen into the Earth Guardian Church at an appropriate time and gave him a fake English name Smith. John Killen quickly attracted a large number of followers with his outstanding appearance. Batty was a little jealous of this. Obviously John Killen is not gentle at all, and can even be said to be very cold and ruthless. But people just love John Killen so much. For example, at this moment, John Killen was pushing a cart through the crowd. When everyone received the box, they looked like they wanted to kneel down and kiss John Killen's shoes. Batty cleared his throat and drew people's attention back. Brothers and sisters, please be careful to protect your boxes. Open the box, you will see one of our weapons dash. In the middle of the box that John Killen was distributing, there was an exquisite tempered glass bottle. The glass bottle looked a bit like nail polish, and it contained about 10 milliliters of light green liquid. The liquid in this special bottle was the concentrated liquid of the high-concentration MXG virus, stored at -10 to 35 degrees for 40 days, it can be guaranteed that its infectivity will not change basically. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 528. The MXG virus has an incubation period of 3-7 days. The initial symptoms are high fever and rash, accompanied by severe gastrointestinal diseases, vomiting and diarrhea. Immediately afterwards there will be liver function decline, kidney function disorder, systemic organ dysfunction, and finally multiple organ bleeding, and the death will be quite tragic. Currently, there are no specific drugs, and no effective vaccine has been developed. The people in the venue looked at the bottles in the boxes in their hands, and their expressions changed. The original expression of excitement and fanaticism on his face slowly faded away, replaced by an expression of hesitation, struggle, and disgust. There is no risk in participating in church activities, shouting slogans, handing out leaflets, or typing on the keyboard. All you need is passion. But if you really want to expose yourself to the virus of the injured person, and then go to a country where you are unfamiliar with the virus, it is impossible to say that I am not afraid. The changes in the expressions of the believers could not escape Batty's eyes. Batty inspected everyone and asked, "Brothers and sisters? Are you afraid?" He made his voice gentler but firmer, "Don't be afraid, brothers and sisters, you have been vaccinated. These viruses will not harm you. We are all family. Family will not hurt family. Family will not deceive family. Family will always love and protect family. Our vanguard will be back soon wearing robes of honor. Are you going to let the smiles on their faces turn into a mockery of your cowardice?" The believers were shaken. Yes. Buddy is their most loving and respected family member. Think of our families. Think of those innocent animals. Think of our mother, the earth. If we, the outstanding warriors, the most proud children of our mother, all shrink back, then the end of the earth will really come. The believers were a little ashamed and lowered their heads. Fear and worry are human nature, you don't have to be ashamed, Batty's voice came again. He took out a long black box of the same style from his coat pocket, opened it, and took out a bottle containing green liquid. The believers looked at Barty. Just listen to Batty shouting in a heroic voice, "I won't let you bear this alone. I am with you." After saying that, Barty twisted open the lid of the green bottle, then raised his head and drank the liquid in the bottle. After drinking, he licked his lips. "Raise your hand and show the empty bottle to the believers." This time, all the believers were completely relieved. Lord Barty drank it? That must be no problem. Barty put the bottle back into the box, stuffed the box back into his coat pocket, and continued to fool around. Imagine, you are traveling for free. The church provides you with air tickets, accommodation, and food for this trip. Although I don't like Chinese people, the Chinese food is really delicious. The believers were delighted. Yes. This is public money to travel and eat. Their names will be remembered by history forever. People in future generations will use songs to express their love for them. Their heroic actions will always be remembered. John Killen, who had witnessed everything, continued to distribute the boxes expressionlessly. He thought to himself, "These idiots. Where is the effective vaccine? What Buddy drank was just Fanta apple water. This group of cannon fodder will be tortured to death by the virus. If they are lucky enough to survive, they will also be assassinated by people arranged by the United Freemasonry. I have to admit that there is a reason why the United Federation of Trade Unions is as brilliant as it is today. Their tactics are ruthless and effective, they hold on to their financial power, and they also use a group of big liars to trick fools into providing them with services, and even help them count the money after being sold. Brothers and sisters, don't open it in a hurry." Batty saw a few people trying to take out the bottles and quickly stopped them. "If this thing is leaked, he will be in danger. It's too early to take it now. Tomorrow, on your way to the airport, drink up the liquid in the bottle, put the bottle back into the box, and be careful about spilling it. We will have dedicated friends to recycle it. You will fly to various cities in China. After landing, you need to find the person who will pick you up. They will take you to the local public children's playground. Smear your saliva, excrement, and vomit as much as possible on the amusement equipment. Also, find a way to get into the kids' bathroom. It's difficult for children to maintain personal hygiene. Toilet buttons, faucet handles, door handles are all important places for you to apply. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 529. Next, the church will take you home. Like brothers and sisters in the commandos. You are the saviors of the earth. Listen. Barty put his hands behind his ears, closed his eyes, and listened. John Killen finished distributing the boxes and was pushing the cart back. Hearing what Batty said, he was stunned and subconsciously listened attentively. Everyone in the room listened attentively. No sound? John Killen was a little confused. At this time, I saw Buddy on the podium, waving his arms excitedly and shouting, "I heard it." Mother Earth cried and said to us, "Thank you. John Killen." He actually stopped and listened for a while. Oh oh oh, the believers roared like beasts. Many people's eyes were red again, and they knelt on the ground and kissed the earth, responding to the earth's gratitude. Okay, friends, now take your things and go home. Tomorrow, you will embark on a journey. Please be aware that never tell anyone the secrets of our church, not even your closest family and friends. The devil is hiding among us. Asterisk. After the meeting, Barty and John Killen sat in the extended Lincoln. This car belongs to Batty, and the driver also belongs to Batty. Barty bent down and opened the wine cabinet, took out a bottle of brandy, and poured John Killen a glass. John Killen took the cup and said politely, "Thank you." Buddy crossed his legs, held the wine glass, and said with some dissatisfaction, "Brother, you don't have to put on a poker face all the time, aren't we good friends now?" "I'm sorry, I was born this way. I'm afraid it's difficult to change." Barty curled his lips. "You are so cold-faced, so many people are scared away by your cold attitude." "I don't feel it." John Killen took a sip of wine. "Don't they just love me like this? If I really always put on an idiotic smile, maybe they will hate me." "Damn, I have to admit that you are right, I really can't understand these people." Barty curled his lips. "One thing, I don't understand," John Killen said, "what if they accidentally break the MXG virus and spread it here? That would be even better." Finally, it was discovered that the MXG virus broke out in China earlier, and the evidence was conclusive that the virus was spread from country X to their country, and the poisoners did it deliberately. The two countries will inevitably become enemies. How sinister and vicious, John Killen thought. Barty took another big sip of brandy, smacked his mouth, tasted the fruity aroma of the brandy, and said, "In short, no one will notice that this matter was done by us in the Union. It's all Earth, the idea of the defenders." "Ha! The defenders of the Earth, they don't even understand their own lives, they want to be the messengers of justice." He added, "China has developed too fast in the past few decades. If the upper echelons of the United States had not focused all their attention on dealing with the bearded man, allowing China to survive and develop secretly for more than 10 years, they would have it will never rise so fast. This country is so terrible. Just a moment of respite and you can turn over again. The technology is so far behind, and we, the American and European countries, have banded together to block technology. They can still find their own way through the cracks. Look at how cunning they are, providing aid to African countries and helping them build railways. It is said to be free. In fact, every penny generated by the railways in the future will be allocated to the Chinese government. We also have to pay commercial loans to the Chinese government, and the import and export trade has also made huge concessions for China, allowing China to reap such a huge benefit." John Killen shook his wine glass, took a sip from time to time, and listened quietly to Buddy's rants. "Our people, as Chinese people, attack the Chinese government on Chinese social networks, saying what they say, their country has not been built well, and they don't care about the poor people, but they go to aid Africa. For example, the upper class will save face. Just do these thankless face-saving projects, etc. I never expected that the Chinese people would not pay the bill this time and would not be fooled. They countered that this was a very smart move by the government. Modern Chinese netizens are no longer easy to fool. Our tasks will become more and more difficult in the future. Therefore, we can only use some drastic measures. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 530. Batty complained for a long time and finally calmed down. During this time, John Killen had been silently holding his wine glass and sipping the light yellow wine. Batty felt a little embarrassed. He was just like those brainless women, complaining for so long. He shrugged apologetically, "Sorry, I lost my composure." John Killen raised his wine glass and smiled faintly, "I understand." "Smith, oh, no," Batty grinned, showing his teeth, "I should call you Mr. Fang, I'm used to your fake name." John Killen's fake identity in the General Association, the illegitimate son of an antique dealer in Country P, named Fang Wenjian, Mr. Fang. "The most common thing your family buys and sells is Chinese antiques, right?" Batty asked. John Killen replied, "Yes, I like to collect Chinese antiques, because they have a long history, and the styles of each dynasty are different, which are very valuable for appreciation." Batty leaned forward and looked at John Killen. So, what do you think of China? Including the Chinese. John Killen thought for a moment, and then said in a straightforward tone, in my impression, China is a country with good luck, and the Chinese are more able to endure hardships and are more pragmatic. Batty was a little dissatisfied. This answer is too superficial, can you answer it from a deeper level? John Killen didn't know how to answer this question. He needed to be cautious and not let his words reveal too obvious emotions. So, he chose some safer angles. Well, you need to be very careful when doing business with the Chinese, because they are very good at talking, and you can let them take advantage of you without knowing it. Batty snapped his fingers to show his agreement. John Killen continued, the degree to which they pay attention to festivals is beyond our imagination, they are willing to take dozens of hours of trains to meet their families. Batty nodded, it's really exaggerated. I have seen their train stations and airports during festivals, my God. They are packed with people. I have never seen so many people in my life. John Killen took a sip of wine and planned to end this topic. But Batty refused to let John Killen go, and asked, what else? John Killen had no choice but to continue, and, Chinese people are very confident in their food culture. Batty raised his eyebrows, I don't know about this. I only know that in China, most of the expensive restaurants are Japanese sashimi, sushi, and steaks, since you know it, tell me about it. John Killen's tone was flat, they rarely praise their own food. That's because they are too confident. For example, if you scold Chinese people for being conservative, polite, and working overtime in front of Chinese people, they will follow you to scold. But if you say that their Chinese food is not good, they will immediately refute, Chinese food is not delicious. Haha, wild boars can't eat fine bran. The last sentence, John Killen used English to directly translate the literal meaning. Batty was very interested, wild boars can't taste the aroma of delicious feed? What does this mean? John Killen put down the empty wine glass and said lazily, they compare those of us who eat Western food to wild boars in the mountains, wild people who have not been influenced by culture. Usually wild boars will not be picky when eating, and will swallow rotten fruits and fresh fruits at once because they have a dull taste. If someone provides wild boars with delicious food, they can't tell the difference between delicious food and rotten fruits. Batty suddenly realized, they say we are vulgar wild boars? Oh my God. The way Chinese people speak is like saying famous quotes. Speaking of famous quotes, I heard that Chinese children, from the beginning of learning to speak, have to recite the exquisite sentences left by their philosophers and poets thousands of years ago. Is that right? John Killen pinched the brandy glass and nodded reservedly, I heard that this is the case. He added with a little pride in his heart, Tang poetry, song lyrics, UN opera, and countless allegorical sayings, proverbs, idioms. There is no way, the culture is brilliant. There are too many things to memorize. I am just afraid that the children will not be able to bear it. Chinese people, everyone is a philosopher, which is not an exaggeration.